What up? What's going on? I see some of you guys out here doing the same as me. Andrew, drinking early. I'm getting old. I'm starting to get old. So the early cocktail is far better for me than I can't, 9 o'clock comes and start getting the old sleepy eyes. So the happy hour is far better for me at as I start to get older. And fantasy football folks, they'll wear you down. If you don't agree about Darrell Henderson, you'll start drinking before 5. Willis, you'll start drinking maybe at lunch, maybe at breakfast. Put a little whiskey in the coffee because, you have a lot of Travis Etienne teams and you have a lot of Darrell Henderson teams. And, if you don't agree about Sony Michel and Darrell Henderson, we're in trouble. So it's perfect. Happy hour has come in at a perfect time. Everybody's getting a little. We just need the season. We need the season to start. Bloody Marys, yeah, something. Mimosas, Bloody Marys. Put some Baileys in the coffee. Probably would have been a good idea. We should have done a brunch show this morning so that everybody could take a step back from worrying so much about Sony Michel and Darrell Henderson. It's gonna be okay. I think your 5th round Darrell Henderson is fine, and something tells me not having Sony Michel's snap share and target share down today, we're gonna be all right. So yeah, I'm excited. Last week was a lot of fun. Last week was a lot of fun. This is perfect, Adam. This is perfect. I'm trying to wrap up a DK draft right now in the $5. Literally, I think this is my last pick. Oh no, I lied. I got 3 more picks to go. So if you're in that draft with me, which I think a couple people are, if you're in that draft with me and I screw up and time out or something, don't make fun of me because I'm trying to multitask and do the DK draft on my phone. Yeah, home league. It's home league season, which I'm actually getting excited for. I've been so deeply ingrained into these best ball streets, but I really think that's helped me get better and I feel locked in kind of for what I want to do in some of these home leagues or getting in the main event on FFPC, that different kind of stuff. I feel really good about that from doing all the best ball stuff. But I think we've reached this point in best ball where it's we just need the games to start. You know what I mean? We don't need to be arguing about every little tiny nuance of Darrell Henderson. It's gotten a little bit out of hand. You're late. 3 minutes and 50 seconds by my clock. 3 minutes and 50 seconds late. That means you got to buy a round for everybody. This is how I really am starting to feel obviously starting this whole spike week thing and me really diving so heavily into this best ball space this year. I'm just all in, right, on best ball. I'm a really, really huge believer in not even just this season-long NFL best ball thing. Obviously, I'm a believer multiple contests with $1 million up top. 3 puppies, right? DraftKings is launching tons of contests. Drafters is launching multiple best ball championships. I think it's a really exciting time for best ball, and I've been just so all in on that. But it's also been the longest off season that I feel like we've had ever because of all the best ball, content. Obviously, I'm doing a ton of content, but there's a lot more people involved in this, right? A lot more people are drafting earlier. A lot more people are interested in all of this. And I feel like we're just beating everything into a bloody pulp of, exactly when did you get what round did you get this certain guy in, you thought Henderson was a good pick in the puppy too. You were wrong. You took Etienne in the 5th round. Haha, I got James Robinson in the 8th. We're doing this silly thing and it feels, maybe it's my bubble, right? I don't follow that many people on Twitter whatever. Maybe it's my bubble, but like, what are we really doing here? You know what I mean? Like, I just feel like we are, 19th round. Sorry, guys, this is riveting. I know, but I'm trying to decide between, Justin Jackson. Well, let's just take Justin Jackson. Hopefully I don't have Eckler, I don't think. But anyway, all the injuries are happening, and then that's bad enough. We're having all of these injuries, right? Cam Akers, Michael Thomas, Travis Etienne, but I'm probably missing. Troutman got hurt. DeAndre Swift isn't even healthy. I do wonder about, here's some galaxy brain kind of thoughts, like the Darrell Henderson spraining his thumb. I'm pretty sure the Rams were always going to, add somebody, but I wonder if they really made it a priority to get someone like Sony that they feel a little more confident in, like, being semi-competent. I wonder if this was like the straw that broke the camel's back, basically, with Henderson. I don't know what you guys think. I don't know what you guys think about that. Ethan, you're going to get booted. You can't come in here with this nonsense. Come on. What are we doing here? I've only had like a sip out of my drink and we're starting the James White thing. Fun fact, I do really like James White. I gave Davis a lot of shit early. That's what started this whole James White kind of stuff. And again, in my little bubble. I love Davis. Obviously, Davis and I are doing a weekly podcast together now. I think Davis is, he's very funny. He's very personable. And, he did some of the bit thing, and he's gotten his fair share of shit over the years, but he's actually super sharp. And I really like bouncing ideas off of him and talking to him, obviously, like I said, while we're doing a weekly show. But I gave him Latavius. Yes, Willis. I think that, okay, let me finish this James White point, and then we're going to come back to this, because I actually think this is a really good one. So anyway, I gave Davis shit for the James White thing, and my thoughts have evolved on James White. And that's the other great thing about this best ball stuff, right? Is like, I was a little lower on James White to start the year, a little higher on like Giovanni Bernard, a little higher on some other guys. And my thoughts have evolved a little bit, even on like James White. I have like, I'm like overexposed. Like, I have more James White mainly on the PPR sites, but I have more James White than probably a lot of people do. And so it's like, we can evolve our thoughts, and, we can also like have productive conversations about players, about strategies or whatever. And it's like, I feel like this is the perfect time to have like kind of this happy hour, because I feel like we've reached like Andrew mentioned, not just with injuries. Injuries are like, wearing on people's mental health, right? It sucks. I had like 12% Travis Etienne, which is not like a huge deal, but like, I have my fair share of Cam Akers teams from drafting early, right? Luckily, I avoided the Michael Thomas thing. But it's like, especially if you drafted Cam Akers and you were drafting Michael Thomas and you were drafting Travis Etienne, like all good picks, right? All good picks. You could have stockpiled just a ton of dead teams. And then if you were coming back and you were hitting some Darrell Henderson, right? Well, now this is another kick in the junk. When the Sony Michel happened, like, it can be brutal to make it through. And then you have the fact that everybody's just like, week one needs to get here. I feel like everybody's just like ready to tell each other that they're, a fucking idiot. Everybody just wants to tell each other that they're just absolutely, wrong about everything. And you're right. And I try my best to like, I'm basically just like trying to talk things through. Like, I'm talking it through with you guys, right? We're just talking, we're talking these different ideas through, these players through. I don't have any, I don't have the golden ticket to any of this kind of stuff. I'm just trying to think about things in a way that hopefully can let us all, we're just talking in the Discord all day, right? And most of you guys are in. If you're not in the Spike Week Discord, either go to spikeweek.com, click Discord in the top, little plug, or I posted it to Twitter earlier, also a direct link. But we're just trying to have some fun. I enjoy drafting. Well, I like a shot at $1 million or $100,000 or $200,000. We're just trying to have some fun. Let me double back here on some things. Adam, I'll get to your question on your home league. This is really funny. No one really will give a shit about my home leagues or whatever, but I have a dynasty league. So I'm 33. We started a dynasty league when I was in high school. I think a sophomore in high school. So, we're closing in on 20 years in this dynasty league. We've had a little bit of turnover, but most of the same guys, like my high school buddies and stuff. And there was, we would go draft we actually drafted our local golf course. My cousin is the head pro there. So we drafted at the local golf course, and this was a thing that happened every single year. So it's really funny that you have this, every time that somebody that has already been picked gets drafted. That was a thing that we had too. So that's really funny. Fantasy football. This is, shout out to you, Willis. Where's Belair? Is Belair in here? Yep, there's Belair. I know Belair. We were just a week ago on this happy hour. You have like 40% Henderson in BBM. And, there's like 12th round Henderson, which is like still awesome. Blair's here. So it's funny because like I took a stand on Henderson in the puppy 2, so like 4th, 5th, 6th round Henderson. And like that contest is over. Is that ideal for me? No. I think I put 100 teams into puppy 2 or something. It's not ideal for me, but I actually haven't drafted any BBMs or any DK millies, so I do have Henderson on DraftKings, this $5 contest quite a bit in like the 4th, 5th round. But it's like people are writing off Henderson. I don't know what's wrong with, I feel like 12th round. Like I just looked today, my first DraftKings Darrell Henderson team was in the 13th round. It's like that. I still feel pretty good about that. It's not ideal for my, $500 of puppy teams or whatever, but okay. You know what I mean? Like, so anyway, let's talk about some stuff we got here. Oh yeah, let's double back to this, Willis. This is the most brutal thing for me. Because of how I drafted, I was so heavy on kind of these, I hate calling them like the 0 RB guy. We need to come up with a better name for these, like, contingent running backs. And like, certainly you could argue the fact that Latavius is older was a reason to be scared off. And this was possible, that he's just dust. Absolutely a possibility. I bet against that basically. And like, I'm okay. I'm okay with that. But this more like, look, injuries happen and more injuries are going to happen, right? Like we really focus in on the handful that happened during the preseason and during training camp, like Etienne, like Cam Akers. But like, the season hasn't gotten here. The guys who are smashed, right? Dak Prescott was the league winner last year, and Dak teams are dead 4 weeks in. It's like you can be right and still be wrong further down the road. But the Latavius thing for me personally has actually been the worst thing. Has definitely been the worst thing. Because I was investing in him, and like I have a lot of good early teams. I have a lot of dead early teams, but I have a lot of good early teams, right? You have Latavius with 12th round Henderson, with 13th round Trey Lance, with 15th round Elijah Moore, with, you know what I mean? With Antonio Gibson and Tyreek, right? So these ones are the ones that get me somewhat. Like the Travis Etienne thing really sucked, but this thing is like brutal. I don't know why. Maybe it's just me. What do we got? Ooh. Oh, This is a good question. This is a really good question. Everybody has blind spots. So if I want to read it because I'm trying to catch up. We just got the podcast feed up and running in case anyone is more interested in the podcast versions of these. It's just been on YouTube. We do have the podcast feed up now for Spike Week. I'm behind. I have way too many things on my to-do list, and so I'm a little bit behind, so I'm going to read it for when I post it to the podcast feed. We all have blind spots when it comes to drafting. What's a blind spot you think may come back to haunt you? I have two. DJ Moore and the Carolina receivers, and Deontay and the Steelers receivers. This is a really good question. If anybody has their own, I would actually like to hear what you guys reply to this question because this is an awesome question. And so I'm thinking I'm also buying time for me to come up with an answer. First one that jumps to my mind, 150%, is actually Najee Harris. I've drafted maybe like 2 or 3 shares of Najee Harris across like more than 500 teams, more than 500 drafts. My general strategy is not buying guys I expect to be very inefficient. Like, we're all expecting Najee Harris to be inefficient as a player, right? If you listened, Silva and Levitan on the Establish the Run podcast put out a really good show, like updating after the Travis Etienne injury and Silva's latest changes. And they talked about Najee and they actually bumped him up. And I think that's totally reasonable. But Silva even makes a point that says, his yards per carry isn't going to look very good. And frankly, it's all volume. It's all volume, which I mean, that's good. Volume is good. My approach to this season is to basically bet against the guys that we are drafting solely for volume. And so the other guy that comes to my mind when I think about that is Darren Waller. So Najee is like, there's not a person on the planet expecting Najee to be efficient. You're just like, everybody keeps saying, oh, he's going to get 350 touches. I was looking at it earlier today. You know how many people got 350 touches? Almost no one. And so when you go into a season and you're saying, I'm only drafting him because I think he's going to get 350 touches. Well, guess what? That doesn't happen very often. Even when you think it's going, like every year we come into the season with these guys where we're like, yep, he's going to get 350 touches. And then 2 players across the entire league get it. Right? Whether it be because of injury or because we were just wrong. We actually just did this dance with James Conner last year. I did this dance with James Conner last year. James Conner was one of my favorite 3rd round picks of last season because we were coming in with this, right? Steelers love their workhorse running backs. He's going to be, he's going to play the workhorse role. He's going to catch passes. And that wasn't entirely wrong, but he was inefficient before he got hurt. And then he got hurt. And so, like, even if he had stayed healthy, he would have been fine. But he still wasn't, because of the inefficiency, he wasn't going to be the guy where you were like, oh my God, I don't have James Conner. And I don't want to bet on the guys like that, basically. So I'm betting against Najee and I'm betting against Darren Waller. Darren Waller is a guy I like fine. I mean, in real life, he's a stud, right? Just an absolute stud. And I bet on him in the last 2 years. I was on Darren Waller last year, and I was way on Darren Waller 2 years ago. But now we're at a peak cost. He has to do what he did last year, not to do this bullshit thing that people do where they're like, if you take away his best game, but if we do that thing where you take away his best game, if you remember, he dropped like almost a 50 burger on the Jets, which is a fun week. That was one of my best DFS weeks of the year. Shout out Henry Ruggs and shout out Greg Williams for that long play in the last play of the game. But Darren Waller had that, like, he was good all year. He was an elite tight end all year. And he had the 1 week where it was like, oh my God, he dropped 50 fantasy points. And so that's not that big of a deal because you want that, right? You get those points. That's 50 fantasy points that you get in your lineup, right? The spikes are exactly what we should be targeting. So that's why he's awesome. But now they're playing the toughest schedule in the NFL per Sharp Football Analysis. Warren Sharp posted an awesome graphic that has the toughest, the schedules basically on a graph of the easiest to the toughest schedules. They have the toughest schedule in the league. I think they really, really outperformed expectation last year in terms of efficiency and scoring. And I could certainly be wrong, but I don't believe Derek Carr is very good. Their offensive line got worse, right? They got much worse actually on the offensive line. They didn't do really anything to improve their weapons. And like I've made it this thing about Josh Jacobs that I don't like Josh Jacobs, but I actually like Josh Jacobs as a player. I actually think he's quite good. And they're going to give some touches and snaps to Kenyon Drake, who I don't think is good. So I just think there's a lot of reasons to bet against the Raiders, which in turn is like, I know Waller's going to get his volume, but there's a difference between him getting his volume and him paying off a draft cost at the 2-3 turn, or in FFPC and tight end premium paying off a middle of the first, or a first round draft cost. And so, but I have to answer, super, super long-winded way of answering the question. I think those are the two guys that jump to my mind because if they do get that volume and I'm wrong about the Raiders or I'm wrong about the Steelers, basically, they could definitely hurt me at their cost. Let's go through now some of these. Frankenback. I can get behind that. I can get behind any name that doesn't make everybody triggered. Anytime we say he's a 0 RB back, everybody's like, fucking 0 RB guys. They're all assholes, right? Best thing about the 0 RB thing is I'm more of a wide receiver type guy. But if you look across like all my early BBMs, it's actually a lot more early running backs because I could get Elijah Moore in the 16th round or whatever. So like if I were, knock on wood, if I do well in Best Ball Mania 2, it's probably going to be one of my early teams. And it's probably going to be like Kamara Gibson or whatever, or like a robust team, which will be really funny. That's kind of what I'm hoping for, just to trigger everybody. Yeah, Chubb is another one. I'm staying strong on Najee. I think when did we talk about this? Chubb. Hayden has brought up some good points. It might have been on this last week. I can't keep all the shows straight. I'm trying to correct. I actually took Chubb in this draft I just did. I'm trying to correct a little bit of my Chubb exposure because that sounds really bad. If you're not into fantasy football and you say I'm trying to correct my Chubb exposure, probably sounds bad. Chubb is the kind of guy that's going to be. We basically know the efficiency is going to be there. So I think about it in terms of like a comparison to, I really like Gibson. I like CEH. I like Jonathan Taylor. I like, probably those guys are great examples because I think I can count on a certain level of efficiency. I know a certain level of talent, and there's upside if things break their way, whether it's role growth, right? I'm betting on Gibson growing over the course of the year to getting, more third downs, more targets, whatever. Well, Chubb doesn't have like the path to just like grow into that because Kareem Hunt is there, but he still does have the contingent value of if something were to, maybe Kareem Hunt becomes dust. I mean, I don't think that's going to happen. Maybe just Kareem Hunt isn't good anymore, or Kareem Hunt gets hurt. Now Chubb becomes the workhorse in what we know he's going to be efficient. We know the offense is going to be efficient. So I'm trying to make sure I just don't want to have 0 Nick Chubb, basically. I'm not going crazy on him, but I'm making sure to mix Nick Chubb in versus like Najee. I'm the opposite. What else did we got here? This was such a good question. Thank you for asking this question. Montgomery, Jacobs, Odell, Galladay. Yep. Those are, I don't know if I've drafted Montgomery. I do have Jacobs. So I need to remove him as the poster boy of the dead zone or whatever, but sometimes Jacobs falls really, really far. I was looking, I have two. I have 2 James Robinson teams. That's 3 on Underdog, 2 in the DraftKings Millie. One has Cam Akers, 2 of them have Josh Jacobs. So I wasn't feeling too good about any James Robinson exposure, but I agree on these guys. I also agree on I'm trying to force myself to mix around the late round flyers too. Yeah, this is how I feel. I mean, if I it could kill me, but you just can't cover every base. And so people will talk about people that I talk to frequently, people that I really respect or whatever in the space will talk about like, oh, I just win through structure. I'm not going to win through player eval and all that kind of stuff, but you can't cover every base. Like I do still want to, like I do believe, and maybe this is the DFS player in me, that like I still only get 150 bullets in each one of these tournaments. I have to make stands somewhere. I can't bet on every player because then I'm like, yes, you can win through structure, but like you do have to win a little bit through player bets. And so like I'm trying to make less of them than say I have in the past. But like I do, like I'm just that Najee is just one of those bets. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. It's very possible that I'm going to be wrong, but that's just for me. That's one of the things that I'm doing. Blind spot is the Tennessee offense. Yeah. So this plug the article I wrote yesterday. The Tennessee offense is one I want to be overexposed to, Adam, because if Derrick Henry stays healthy, if the defense holds up, if all things remain the same, the Titans, I think, can be fine. I mean, I love AJ Brown, but I even think Julio can be fine. I think Firkser can provide you some spikes. Darrington is Darrington. He's more of a handcuff. And I think Tannehill can be fine. Tannehill was the QB7 last year in fantasy. But if, the catastrophic event that could happen that could make Tennessee like the had to have offense, absolute smash had to have offense, is if Derrick Henry gets hurt. I think every single player on that offense becomes a screaming value. Even AJ Brown in the second round becomes a screaming value if Tennessee, if something happens to Derrick Henry. Even if Derrick Henry stays healthy, this defense might get worse. I think it has gotten worse. And so if they just get into kind of some shootouts or, they're getting lit up a little bit on defense to where they just can't do the Derrick Henry 30 carries a game type thing, and they need to open it up a little more, which is like probably what they should do when you trade for Julio freaking Jones, and your best tight end is strictly a wide receiver in Anthony Firkser. I think that the upside is really, really crazy on the Titans. So I'm on the Titans for sure. Let's see. Jameson, I had a blind spot in not getting stacks I really believe in, but in different slots. Can you explain? Sorry, I know I'm a little behind on the comments. Reaching for a Ram stack. Okay. So like different textures of your teams, right? That's how I was to start the year too. I screwed that up, definitely big time. But I think honestly pretty much everybody did. These are things we didn't talk about. we didn't talk about these things. Best ball is still so new, and these different strategic elements are still so new. The big one that now is not really that crazy, but it was. I'll never forget it because before ADP got ruined by ship chasing, it was actually not. I'm not trying to say it was me, but I went on the first time I went on ship chasing this year. If you don't know what ship chasing is, I'm sure that like 99% of you do, but in case you don't know what ship chasing is, go to Peter Overzet's YouTube channel. He does a weekly show. Now moving into heading into the season, it's going to be a lot more frequently, but called Ship Chasing. Both season long and best ball kind of drafting and just fantasy football analysis. It's excellent. I love those guys. But I went on Ship Chasing, and we were talking about best ball drafts and kind of talking about the wide receiver running back thing or whatever. And like after that, the wide receiver ADP like got broken. Some of the guys you used to be able to get later, you used to be able to take your early running backs and still get good wide receivers, right? The ADP totally shifted on ship chasing. And when we did that show, I brought up this CMC point that you made, and it was like, I love the Cowboys, and CMC is obviously the best asset in all fantasy. And I was like, but I don't have Cowboys stacks with CMC, or I don't it wasn't necessarily that easy to get Dak, at least at a value with CMC. But I was like, I love CD. I really like Amari, and obviously CMC is awesome, but I just have like Justin Jefferson and AJ Brown or George Kittle and CEH or whatever, all the guys that at that time were the ADP around that 2-3 turn. CD actually went later back then. Believe it or not, CD was not a second round pick all of summer, the entire draft season. And you had to reach if you wanted to get CD and Amari at the 2-3 turn. Now it's a little more reasonable, but I was like, I need to mix in these different textures, because like if I'm right about the Cowboys and I'm right about CMC, I don't want to have all my Cowboys on non-CMC teams. So I've really actually actively started to force different textures of teams. Yesterday I went on a stream with Peter again, with Overset again yesterday, and we did that. We forced a little bit of a different texture. Washington, that's a good one. The football team, they are interesting, I will say, because I'm like mega bullish on Washington. I don't know how you guys feel. About the football team, but I'm like, like this is the one thing that like Levitan has been screaming it from the mountaintops, and I mean he could not possibly be more right in my opinion. Is that like the Washington football team is just set up to smash. Like I mean, we could argue they have the best defense in the NFL, or they're up there. They're right up there with a few of the top teams, right? Tampa and Cleveland and those guys. But like I mean, they're just loaded on defense. Offensive line is meh. But you have Terry McLaurin, awesome wide receiver. Logan Thomas, one of the better tight ends in the NFL. Added Curtis Samuel, very good playmaker. Added De'Ami Brown. Even added Adam Humphries, who like we're not super bullish on, but it's an upgrade for them. Then you have Antonio Gibson, obviously a big-time player in the backfield, and J.D. McKissick. And now Jarrett Patterson also looks good. And they were pretty good last year with Alex Smith at quarterback. Now you make a big upgrade to Ryan Fitzpatrick. And so this is one where I'm super, super bullish on Washington, like overall season. And that's also what has me bullish on Antonio Gibson. But I do feel like I need to get more of the other guys. Like it's, I would compare him to this. I don't know how you feel about this. It's a similar situation to the Chargers for me. Like I'm really bullish on the Chargers. The Chargers offense is like, I'm in on the Chargers offense, but I don't have enough of the Chargers offense. At least with Washington, I have a lot of Gibson, but like I need to make sure I'm getting my fair share of McLaurin and Logan Thomas and Curtis Samuel. I have quite a bit of De'Ami Brown, but like I need to make sure I'm mixing in those other guys too. And the Chargers are the same way for me. All right, I'm gonna try to catch up a little bit here. Thank you. Yes, own YouTube channel. Sorry. Good call. We don't want to give Peter. I don't want Peter to get the credit for ship chasing. This is definitely also true. Chris G. But Chris is maxed out. Let's see. Yeah, this is a really good question. I'm trying to understand the math if you should draft the player you already have exposure to once he gets steamed. Possibly I'm being late. It's possible I'm being lazy. But it's a market. It's a market. Sorry, somebody asked what I was drinking. That's why I got the burps here. Really just not good streaming etiquette. But the Sony Michel people wore me down today, man. The James Robinson people wore my ass down the last 24 hours. So I needed a little Monster vodka, little Tito's and Monster. So I got the Monster, all the carbonation from the Monster flowing through me. So I apologize. But to me, it's because I want to treat it like a market. I think we might actually, it's possible we're about to get a chance to buy back in on Henderson. It's possible we're about to get a chance to buy back in on Henderson. But it's like, I just want to be, as much as I can, trying to buy low, sell high, right? It's, you can listen to the NFT guys and the market guys on Twitter. They're all the best financial advice you can find on Twitter. But like, I bought Henderson just like you did, Belair, in the 12th round or whatever, in the contest where all of us have that 12th round Darrell Henderson. I now don't want to be buying 4th round Darrell Henderson because it's like I have my exposure to him, creates natural diversification, and if he is right, my 12th round teams are better than the 4th round teams with him, and he's going there in every draft now with the new ADP. So it's kind of this. It's just this like, market game, but also, a little bit of game theory. And I think, and then now, right, we see maybe he wasn't the total smash, and maybe what if he falls now to 8th, 9th round? Now you can take him again if you want to. Jamar Chase is a good example. Jamar Chase was a guy I wasn't really drafting that much early because like I liked all the other wide receivers in his range better. I liked his own teammate who went after him better in T. Higgins. And so I forced myself to take him a few times, like just because I was trying not to be totally stubborn. Like Jamar Chase can absolutely outperform T. Higgins, even though I don't think that's what's going to happen. But now it's like, I literally passed on Jamar Chase. I've done a handful of DK drafts today in the $5 because it's almost going to fill. I passed on Jamar Chase in like the middle of the 6th round today because I've taken him like all day in the 6th round. I think I took him in the early 7th earlier, but it's like, well, I didn't need to take him in the 4th because I thought he was overvalued there. If you're right, you made a bet that you're right about that. If you're right about that, then you're going to have opportunities to take him again later. So like, and if you're wrong about that, you can always correct it, right? If you're wrong about Jamar Chase isn't over, I thought Jamar Chase was overvalued where he was going. If I'm wrong, it's like I can jam him in later. But if you're right, the benefits of that are huge because now you have, in theory, the best Jamar Chase teams that exist, right? You like Belair, you have the best Darrell Henderson teams. 40% of your teams are the best Darrell Henderson teams. Does that mean he's gonna, take you to the ship? Who knows? But you have in case he is the winner, you have the best of those teams. No, your question was awesome, dude. That's what I'm looking for. That was a really awesome, mental exercise. Yeah, this is crazy. You guys are sickos. All right. Would you be happy with these 2 stacks? Brady. Oh man, why does the question have to be with Brady? I have 0 Tom Brady. So I will say I like these stacks. I like the Bucks and I like the Bengals. And I like these stacks. I also like OJ Howard as a late tight end, and I totally like pairing these stacks together. But the other really if you want to get gal-brained with me, the Bucks play the Jets in week 17, and the Bengals play the Chiefs in week 17. So 2 really nice stacks to have then. The issue for me with Brady is just that I don't see much of a path to him paying you off. And I talk about that all the time. And I think that's where I differ typically from most people. It's just that I think in like a payoff perspective. Like, could Brady score 30 fantasy points in a playoff week? Yeah, it's possible. But I just, the NFL has changed and I just want to bet a little bit more on some of these runners, and I can get the benefits of Tom Brady with, like you did, with Evans, with OJ Howard, with Godwin, with AB, with Gio, I can get the benefits of him and then try to, I like Trey Lance and Justin Fields and Trevor Lawrence and those kind of guys, and try to capture the like legendary upside at the quarterback position. That's just my kind of stance on Brady. But I mean, I like the Bucs and I like the Bengals. So yeah, sure, yeah, ship chasing. Those guys are the worst. They love wide receivers, hate running backs. Don't listen to them. Let's see. Yep. I've been forcing Logan Thomas. I'm happy that I've been forcing Logan Thomas pretty much all throughout the year. He's the one. He's actually the one. I'm maybe this is stubborn too. I'm not that upset with not having a ton of McLaurin because of where he goes, but I feel like it's possible I'll be upset if I don't make sure I have enough Logan Thomas. Tight end position, it's so weak. It's so incredible. If Kelsey doesn't smash, why isn't Logan Thomas one of the next best like opportunities at the tight end position? They have a totally fine playoff schedule. The Eagles twice. Why can't Logan Thomas catch 2 touchdowns in 2 of the 3 playoff weeks at tight end, playing every snap? One of the few workhorse tight ends. So I think personally you should make sure you have enough Logan Thomas. And his cost is totally fine on Underdog, in my opinion. Totally fine on Underdog. He's a little pricey on DraftKings, but he's also a little better on DraftKings. So, I'm forcing Logan Thomas, and I think we should. I like Hurts, Sam. I like Hurts. Going back to the very original question about like who do you not have enough of? I think Hurts is one of the guys that I don't have enough of. I've jammed so much Lance. And so the real issue is that Hurts used to go basically in like the 8th round. It went past ADP. I actually don't know what the ADP is right now, but past ADP went, the top 5 quarterbacks, and then you had Russ, Herbert, Hurts. This was before Rodgers. This was like pre that we knew Rodgers was playing. And I was like, I can't take Hurts in the 8th round. This was like LaVisca went in the 8th round. Chenault went in the 8th round. Like Gallup went in the 8th round. Will Fuller went in the 8th, 9th round. Right? We were living in Raheem Mostert, right? Sermon. We were living in a very different world back then. But so I just I literally never took Hurts. I actually talked to Scott Barrett from Fantasy Points, and he was like, Hurts is one of my stands. We did a stream a few weeks ago. He was like, Hurts is one of my stands because it's like this guy is like the legendary rushing upside at the quarterback position. And we're like assuming he can't throw and like the Eagles offense is meh or whatever. But like they're in this same situation where like they're like to the Cowboys basically. Then this is going to sound egregious if you just clip that off, but the whole offensive line was hurt last year for the Eagles. Their weapons were horrid. What happened last year should almost be a write-off for the Eagles, just like it should be a write-off for the Cowboys. But we have written it off for the Cowboys. We're like, yep, we saw the upside for the Cowboys, right? Dak, CD, Amari, Gallup, Zeke, Pollard, good offensive line. We're excited. Eagles were like, nope, they suck. And like they're not the Cowboys, but like they're going to get an offensive line back. Like they have enough talent. Devonta Smith won the freaking Heisman. Like Devonta Smith is like a good wide receiver. Jalen Reagor, who, I don't know if he's good, but we were excited about him last year. Quez Watkins looks okay. They have Dallas Goedert and Zach Ertz, Miles Sanders, Kenny Gainwell. I feel like I was wrong, a little bit wrong about the amount of Hurts that I have, and I probably need to correct it. Fant makes sense. Yep. I was forcing Fant too. I was making sure to force Fant too, and I think we should force Fant. To a lesser extent from Logan Thomas. To a little, I'm more bullish on Logan Thomas than I am on Noah Fant, but that's also like that could be wrong because Fant is a flat out better football player than Logan Thomas. Chris G is everyone's spirit animal. I just steal all my ideas from Chris G, except maxing out the BBM in like June. What are we doing, Chris? Yeah, kinda. I think so. Because you can always buy and sell. You can always adjust, right? You can always adjust and like I mean, there's guys that I'm buying. I haven't been able to get him because the steam is so strong. But I was more think about Corey Davis and Elijah Moore. I was more on Elijah Moore, especially at cost, than Corey Davis. I have my fair share of Corey Davis. I think I was 9 or 10% Corey Davis. I'm definitely on the Jets. I'm high on the Jets, but I was like heavier on Elijah Moore. But like, I probably should have bought Corey Davis a little bit earlier. However, you can still buy in whenever you want to. I've been trying to get the problem is the steam has gotten so out of control on Corey Davis. Like I said, I've been drafting mostly on DraftKings. I really don't know exactly on Underdog how it's going. But on DraftKings, I mean, the guy, he doesn't even make it to pick 100 anymore. I think he's going to have like an 8th round ADP soon. So I might have missed the boat there, but like you can still always buy. He's not shifting that much. But I'm just trying to play the market as best I can. If you're talking to me, I agree. I am a dummy. Let's see. Yeah, we'll definitely get more into this in the offseason. It'll be really, really interesting to see how the offseason goes because, if you hit on, I don't know, Javonte or something in the 16th round, that can be really beneficial, but you also, tons of risk. So balancing that is a really interesting. Yeah, I kind of can't wait for the season to be over too. Yeah, 100%, Andrew, 100%. Yeah, I totally agree, Sam. Like that's a really added benefit too. Really, really good point. That's if you can backdoor stack guys, I feel like it's added. Maybe I'm just gal braining this idea, but if you can backdoor stack guys, I feel like that's a really added benefit. And Ertz is available for free. Quez is available for free. Gainwell is available for free. I don't really like stacking with my running backs unless they're James White or whatever. And I think Gainwell is kind of more of the Nyheim Hines, James White. He's actually gotten comped by his coach to Nyheim Hines, and so you have those backdoor stack options and he's a run, right? His value is in rushing. And so it's fairly disingenuous of me to like Trey Lance in the 11th round and not like Jalen Hurts in the 10th or 11th round. And so I'm just trying to correct that. Yeah, I was kind of on Higbee very early on, and I'm so on Higbee. What do you guys think about Higbee? I'm very so. The run that he made, to close 2 years ago was sweet, and we'll always have that. I'm just not certain that he can replicate it in this offense with all those weapons and such. I do like Tonyan. I think Tunyan's undervalued. I like Tonyan. Yep, DK $5 going to fill soon. Pretty crazy. My team's probably suck in there. So it's really plus EV because just like the Puppy 2, Henderson was one of my stands, and I am a gup that punted away some fourth round Darrell Henderson teams in there. However, I do think it's a really plus EV tournament, even though the payout structure really sucks. I think, man, the drafts you can make some really good teams, as you should be. You should be happy about it. Corey Davis looks good. Fade what they're saying. That seems, I don't mean that as a slight. That probably came off poorly. You know what they like. Maybe the biggest edge in any draft you can do is when you know what the room is going to do. I actually like being in ship chasing drafts. This sounds weird because I'm a wide receiver guy. Being in ship chasing type rooms where it's crazy wide receiver heavy, I like being in because I know what they're going to do. I know who they like. I know who's going to be available later. I know where the value is going to come. And so when you know who your coworkers like Hayden and Josh, that's an advantage. So like knowing what they're going to do, knowing the players that they like, and basically kind of fading them. Or if you really like them, there's ways to play that too. Let's see. Do you sometimes get caught up with being too mindful of your player exposures while drafting and forgetting that team you're drafting is one by itself? And I actually do not. Very good question. I actually do not have this issue. And I actually think sometimes I might go too far that way, and that I'm in a room and I'm trying to draft the best team in that room. I do try to mix up some things here and there, but I am more open to being a little bit overexposed to certain players than maybe some of my colleagues would be. So I lean the other way, which is a little bit of risk tolerance, a little bit of whatever, but that's my personal preference. I don't think Miles Sanders is going to be the key. He's really falling, so if you want to take him in the 6th round or something, yeah, I mean, totally fine. I'm pretty out on Miles Sanders, but you cannot see your exposures on DraftKings. Good luck. It's brutal. Brutal product. Definitely a lot of backdoor stack options on DraftKings, in my opinion. Yeah, Higbee's fine. I mean, Higbee definitely has upside, so no hating on Higbee, that's for sure. Yeah, my issue with Higbee is I think he's just pushed up with like a little bit of wish casting, which is like also the truth for some of the guys that I like, so I can't like really bash on it. But he's still in that range where there's like really attractive options at other positions. And so it's like, seriously, what really is the difference between Tyler Higbee and the Patriots tight ends? Or Tyler Higbee and Cole Kmet? Right? Like, maybe Higbee is a better bet, but like how much? 5 rounds? 6 rounds? And then you compare it's not even just that 5 round, 6 round difference. It's a 2v2. You know what I mean? Cole Kmet and who's a 10th, whatever. Pick your favorite 10th round other player. Could also be a quarterback too, not just a running back or a wide receiver. Yeah, I'm going to be in Philly for week 1 of NFL. I'm in the DraftKings baseball DFS live final, and then that's also for week 1. So if you're not a ship chaser and you're interested in coming out to something different for NFL week 1, I will be in Philly where DraftKings is holding their week 1 launch event. And hopefully I'll win $1 million in MLB DFS. probably did all right, Sam. You probably did all right. Let's see. This is a good question. How I would frame it as in, I'm not trying to be a year ahead more often. I'm trying to hit on the situations where being a year ahead pays me off the most. That's actually why I struggle a little bit with Higbee, is that I don't foresee an outcome where he's like this insane tight end. I foresee an outcome where like he exceeds his draft cost, but I don't foresee an outcome where like the next year we're drafting him like, in the Kittle Waller tier, right? Like I don't foresee that outcome. And I'm trying to draft the, of course, draft capital and all that kind of stuff matters, but I think you want to maximize the returns when you hit on that post type sleeper, as opposed to just finding a post type sleeper, right? He could be a guy that breaks out a little bit and still not be a guy where you're like, I had to have him to win a 200,000 person best ball contest. And so that, I think that's the difference, that we're weighing those things. Yeah, I'm going to need to win the MLB, the DraftKings Baseball Live Final to get even on all this Darrell Henderson and Travis Etienne and Cam Akers. That's why I started the happy hour, to sulk my Darrell Henderson teams. Anything else? We're closing in on an hour, about perfect time. This is good. This is good timing. Let's see. I'm doubling back to see if there's anything I missed. Oh, Adam, you brought up this question. Let me double check. Superflex, full PPR at the 12 spot. Oh boy. Where are my Scott Fishbowl people? Or who has full PPR Superflex takes? Not my area of expertise. I will say at the 12 spot, my gut take from seeing some Scott Fishbowl and some Superflex stuff on Twitter and whatnot is, if there's a way to capitalize on the cheaper quarterbacks, I think that would be ideal. It's kind of like the CMC thing in our best ball drafts, where like if you pick 12th, you can double tap running back, right? You can take JT and Mixon. I'm just throwing examples out there. But like, if CMC and Dalvin and Kamara, whatever, are the league winners, you're just building the same team as those guys, but worse. So that's how I like to think about it. Like, you're picking 12th. If all the elite quarterbacks are gone by the time you get there, how are you going to beat the teams with the elite quarterbacks? Well, it would be Justin Fields, Trey Lance, Tua, those kind of guys. That's my gut take. Oh, man, good question. I don't have any faith in Dan Campbell and the Lions to be slow rolling the league. I have some fairly real concerns about Swift's health, personally. Yeah, this could be. It could be. Listen to these guys. Yeah, tight end premium. I like Kittle. Industry draft from the 111 went Kelsey, Barkley, and wound up with Stafford, Lance, Darnold. I mean, if you can get Kelsey, Saquon, and still get Stafford, Lance, Darnold, and Superflex, sign me up. That's where I'd lean. I'm not saying to avoid a quarterback there, but my guess is that the elite ones will all be gone. And I think capitalizing on a Lance, Fields, Darnold, Teddy, capitalizing on those guys exceeding expectations is probably your best way to beat the elite quarterback teams and like the CMC teams. That's nice. What the hell, man? Where were you? We missed you. Davis and I talked about this on not the last two. If you want to go back on the channel, like and subscribe to the Spike Week YouTube channel. If you want to go back on the channel, Davis and I talked about this quite a bit actually. 2 Sports Grid Spike Week crossover shows. We've done 2. In the first one, we talked about the slow drafting. I think the expected value of a fast draft is like infinitely higher than a slow draft, but I also understand there's only a finite amount of time. We can't all be on our phones or on our computers at all points in time. So, yeah. I actually haven't watched last night yet. I got the wife to start watching the Formula One show on Netflix, which is I've gotten super into Formula One now from this from Drive to Survive. So I got her to start watching it, and so we're back on that. Higbee behind Thomas, Fant, and Tunyon. Goddard's tough, I will say. Goddard's tough. All right, just a couple more minutes, and then I don't want to get in trouble. You know what I mean? You stay too long at happy hour, and you get in trouble. Let me double back. That's funny. Missed that earlier. You're less dead than you were before. Not ideal. This is actually this is my approach. I haven't done any of the high stakes like the big dog on underdog or the 555 on DraftKings. I'm kind of trying to wait out the information advantage and see if there's overlay to determine how much I want to fire at it. Because I just have far less 12th round Henderson teams to worry about, right? Far less teams that have nobody has Sony Michel in those or whatever, right? I just don't have to worry about as much, like in the BBM, I have to worry about all the thousands of teams that are drafted with late round Henderson or whoever that person is, late round Callaway. But I don't have to worry about those in these small fields. So I personally am drafting it a little bit, kind of this approach as late as possible. Yes, fact. Soul crushing. Let's see. Yep, overlay. Yeah, see, I think it's not giving up expected value. It's that fast drafts, and so I guess maybe it is giving up expected value. Fast drafts, people make more mistakes. It could be as simple as the fact that more people are going to be on auto draft in your fast drafts, right? You sign up and you forget about it. Like just that in and of itself creates more EV. And now you're combining that with the fact that people make more mistakes because you only have 30 seconds to make a pick, right? You're walking your dogs or you're making dinner or you're having a conversation with somebody or whatever. And oh crap, I got 10 seconds. Pick somebody and people screw it up. Yeah. Yes, you do. No double elite tight end starts for me. If it was a trend, I'm happy it was a trend because I think that's a really poor use of draft capital. Double elite tight end. You're not gaining. You're not really getting. Oh, see the dogs agree. No double elite tight end. you're not gaining really gaining like any points at tight end, but you're absolutely losing points, and you're losing the shot at this crazy high upside elite option with 2 tight ends in the first 3 rounds. Exactly. All right, guys. Thank you a ton. This was a lot of fun. We're definitely gonna be continuing this going into the season. Even during the season, we're just gonna have a happy hour hangout on Wednesdays. Be a perfect time to kind of talk through what happened before. There's going to be in-season best ball contests, and obviously maybe we can tilt a little bit, right, about who is not, FFPC, totally fine, best ball, normal, non tight end premium, not so fine. If you are hanging out on Friday night, special announcement, haven't posted it yet, super excited. Going to do a big dog draft Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern with the only Evan Silva. Evan Silva from Establish the Run is coming on Spike Week, and we're going to do a big dog draft on Underdog on Friday. Super pumped to announce that. And then tomorrow we'll have the typical Thursday draft stream, and still Friday at noon of the typical Friday draft stream, but special occasion when you can get the big dog himself on to do a big dog draft, you do it. So I will catch you guys tomorrow. I will catch you guys on Friday, and I'll catch you guys on Friday night for maybe a combo happy hour and draft stream. But until then, spikeweek.com, hit subscribe below, all those fun different things that every streamer of all time does. And I'll catch you guys later.